Welcome to POSTCAST. The Jazz put together 48 minutes of brilliance tonight in Miami and blow out the Miami Heat 105-87. Really, the game was never close. The Jazz jumped out early, 33-16 at the end of one, and then proceeded to lead by 14 at the half. They led by 18 by the time we headed to the fourth. The game got down to 9 at one point. The Jazz answered, and then at another point it got close, and Canter hit two huge plays, a corner three and then a drive to the basket. The Jazz did the exact opposite of what they've done in most of these games. They endured every run. They handled every onslaught. They stayed focused for 48. This is exactly, Quinn talked about, it's interesting how head coaches know, right? Like, they know beforehand, and even the coaches on Ennis, who's been so well, they kind of were telling us for weeks beforehand he's playing really well, he's doing the right things. Quinn today was very positive about what he saw last night, and it came together today.
Well, it did. And again, David, back-to-back ball games where the Jazz got off to a good start in that first quarter, like you just mentioned, shooting over 60% there in that first quarter. The difference is the Jazz were able to withstand the run that the Miami Heat put on tonight after making some big shots. So, this is something that they struggled with all season long, and it's very important for them to try to maintain that. Maybe what we saw tonight, David, was a different rotation of players. But the big thing is they had a great night shooting a three-point shot. Even the radio announcers for the Heat came over and says, "I thought you guys couldn't shoot threes," but what a night they had.
Well, the Jazz do. They end up shooting final 14 of 25, so equaling the Alec Burks three at the end, tied the franchise record for most threes in a game that they hit earlier this year against Dallas with their 14th. A lot to talk about with Dwayne Wade, but let's start with our guy, Gordon Hayward, tonight. He asserted himself on the game early with 12, maybe even 13 first-quarter points, and then just absolutely every time Dwayne Wade did something, seemingly answered on his own end.
Well, I looked at the stat sheet, and it was it played 31 minutes, and I just thought, okay, the Jazz are up 16, or they're down now. They're up 13, and I say, well, maybe he won't put him back in, but puts him back in, and he gets 9 points. I think at that time he only had 22 points or something like that in the quarter, and then he went on a run. He's been special all season long. He had 4 threes tonight, and he just does something to the stat sheet, because his numbers are always there. You can count on him to get the assists. He leads the team in assists. You can count on him getting X amount of rebounds a game. And he's just that complete basketball player that you can look at the stat sheet. And when he doesn't do those things, you think, okay, he didn't have a great ball game because he's such a complete player.
You've been big about playing with pace, Ron. Mm-hmm. Have they picked up their pace the last few nights?
I can't really. I think early in the ball games they do, and then it kind of slows down a little bit. I don't know if they get caught up in the way that New Orleans wanted to play or the way that the Heat wanted to play tonight. I just think you force teams to play defense in transition. You can always back it out and get into an offense. You push it up the sidelines, there's going to be something open. If not, then you can bring it back and get into the offense. So the pace of play that I like and the pace of play that other coaches talk about might be just a little bit different.
One rotational change tonight. We saw Dante Exum get 24 minutes tonight. Now he played a little bit with Trey Burke because of Rodney Hood's foul trouble, but I think the coaching staff has gained some confidence in him, and it seems as though he hit that first wall. Every shot for about 2 weeks hit the front rim. But since then, he seems to have made some strides and looks much more comfortable on the floor.
That's the way he's going to grow. He's going to need minutes out there on the floor in order to grow. And the big thing is he gets a chance to play against some of the best players in the world. And every player has a star that he has to deal with. And so you get a resume. You get a reference sheet, whether it's in your mind or if he's one of those guys that goes home and he keeps track of everybody that he's played against, what played against, and what they try to do, what they like to do, what's their weaknesses, that type of thing. Some players will do that. I'm not sure if he's one, but if not, that's kind of stuff registers in your mind.
We have a pretty gentle point guard stretch here. Norris Cole and Mario Chalmers don't put a lot of fear in you. Victor Oladipo's not really a point guard. Elfridge Payton is equally as young as Dante. You head down to Charlotte, and Kemba Walker, frankly, is pretty small and not all that. Mike Conley might be able to take you through the ringer a little bit in Philadelphia with Michael Carter-Williams before you make the next step. Then we got the run. Then it starts again. Then you've got the the Clippers and Ty Lawson and Kyle Lowry coming right after that. So I think, or no, that's not quite right, but I think you've got something of the sort coming around the corner. So it's a good little time to give him a little extra time. And his Canter continues it again tonight. 18.6 rebounds. And if you look at the box score tonight, Ron, I would look at this and say, wow, looks like the Jazz are becoming more post-centric again. Is that true, or are the guys just making plays?
He's just making plays. It's not post, and that was one of the reasons I asked him about rebounds, because he just goes to the glass. He gets a lot of putbacks off of missed shots or loose balls. He's just there, and not a lot of post-up move. We didn't see one post-up move with him tonight. Favors tried one and was unsuccessful. Everything else was off the offense and knocking down 3-point shots. So I don't know. If you look at Canter's game by game stats, he's pretty much been as consistent as anyone on this team.
Interesting angle on this one from the Jazz. They let Dwayne Wade do their thing. They rarely double teamed him tonight. They did occasionally in the second half, but Dwayne Wade finishes 12 of 19 from the field. The rest of them being the Heat, were 15 of 51. Wade had 42, the most points he's had in the game since December of 2010. He was fabulous. Unbelievable.
You know what's so great about his game? He went to the free throw line 21 times, 16.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like he was just hogging the ball, trying to dominate the ball, and everyone else was just out there. 19 of the 70 shots. Then the next guy is Chalmers with 13 shots. But for the most part, that's what the Jazz were giving him. And so he scored 42 points, but I'd be disappointed if he didn't score, because the Jazz were able to keep the ball in his hands.
All right, let's go to Ryan, who sends in the question tonight. Jazz fans are currently realizing that the fact that size cannot be fixed, especially in the case of Trey Burke. Do you think Trey would be willing to accept a backup long-term role if Exum took over his starting position next year? A long way away from getting to that point, so it's probably premature. The only thing I would say is he would be the first one in history to ever do that. You've seen DJ Augustine, and you've seen a lot of other point guards come into this league who then turn out to not be starters, and they usually then become really nice players on other teams. So maybe that would happen, and they can find a relationship where they meld together. But it would be an unusual circumstance if that happens, I would say.
I believe that as well. And as much as we think that Dante is improving, we have to don't forget his age, and there's still things that he doesn't understand. We watch him play in the games, and he does these things well. He's still 19 years old.
Yeah, I would say asking him to start next year is a lot.
That'd be a heck of a lot. That puts a lot of.
And realize, look at Gordon Hayward's body today. Look at Derek Favors' body. Those are Mark McCowan. That's 4 years of work these guys are putting in to get to the point where their bodies are physically. Ennis is kind of, has been really gone through various different evolutions with his body, and he's probably still a year away from being completely formed. We're watching Ennis on television, totally photobomb an interview with Derek Favors. I love Ennis.
Oh boy,
we had a nice elevator ride with him today. But I think you got to realize that, so Dante still, it's going to be. I feel very comfortable how good a player Dante Exum is going to be. He just does things and sees things, and his height and length are advantages to him. But let's make sure we don't ruin it before.
And just
it becomes
quickly
great.
To add to what you're saying, players are coming into the league so young right now that it's impossible for them to make an immediate impact on this game. They can come in, you can see potential, and he can do this and he can do that, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, he's better than this guy, when he's not really. And so we just have to wait on him. We waited on Gordon. Gordon now is considered a star in this league. He actually gets the job done. He's a very complete basketball player, and you just have to wait on Dante.
But I think we're seeing the first step. Let's take the little steps.
Right.
The first step is from 15 to 22 minutes a night, and I think we're beginning to see that happen with the coaching staff feeling comfortable. We'll see how many nights he handles it.
But one thing he does have, that's a step ahead of Trey even right now, is that's the defensive end of the floor.
Yes. And he'll always be longer.
Yeah, he will always be longer.
On that brilliant note, see ya.